Welcome to We Geek Podcast. Today is November 11th, 2015, episode 34, I believe.
Yeah,
and
it.
My name is Adam. I'm joined by my good friend Logan.
Hello.
What up? And man, how was your week?
Same old. Work, games, nothing exciting going on.
Word? Oh yeah. I actually had company over for like a week, so
Nice.
I didn't get to do much. I didn't get to do much in the way of like geeky stuff, like comics or TV or whatever. I did actually get to see some shows, so I got caught up on a few things. One of my friends that came over, she was total nerd, new friend actually. Basically, I went to some music festival here locally in Orlando, and one of my friends came out of town with her friend. And both of them, me and both of the girls, went to EDC with a bunch of our friends, and it was just a complete and utter blast. Just had a great time. And I did get to squeeze in some TV shows before that and after that. Saw new Supergirl, Gotham, Flash, all that stuff. So didn't really have much time for games, and guess what? No Destiny.
No,
Yeah.
How did you survive?
Exactly. And that was actually pretty nice. Now that I think about it, I had no urge to jump in and destroy anything or spend a bunch of hours raiding. And I helped my buddy at the end of last week, get into the raid and whatnot. But yeah, it's been a nice little break. I actually picked up Fallout 4, so I'm going to probably be playing some of that. And I think I might take a Destiny hiatus for the moment. Kind of just do other things. It was actually really nice to get out of the house and hang out with people and socialize and blah blah blah. So yeah, no, it was good. But I don't think I saw any films in the last week or so. But if I remember by the end of the show, I'll bring it up. Have you seen any new movies?
No, I didn't see anything this weekend.
Right.
Which is
what was out this week? Was it Peanuts or?
Peanuts and Spectre.
Oh, the Bond movie. Got mixed reviews, I saw.
Yeah, that was curious.
Yeah, it was a bit odd because I thought it was going to be good. It looks good. It looks like a Bond film. And the reviews are either best Bond movie ever or, oh my God, that was horrible.
Yeah, there's not a lot of middle ground.
Right, exactly. I think we got Hunger Games coming soon. We got what's that Christmas movie with Seth Rogen?
Oh, the night before?
The night before that.
I'll see that. That actually looks funny.
Exactly. Yeah, it looks cool. I would definitely be seeing that. Yeah, man, no more movies. I'm kind of I don't have any movies that I'm super excited about until Star Wars.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, that's the big one. But we got to see some trailers over the last week. One we'll talk about in our movie segment, the Warcraft trailer. So I'm excited for that. And I'll kind of break that down. Probably take a bunch of time doing that. But before we get started, we did have, unfortunately, a few people that did pass away in the last week. We should actually start out with Daniel Fleetwood. He was the guy we brought up last week, huge Star Wars fan. He was 32 years old, and he wanted to see the film before he passed away, and he didn't think he was going to make it, and unfortunately he didn't, but fortunately he was able to see the film. They were able to show it to him. I saw that the 501st was able to visit him, and
nice.
I'm glad he was able to see that before he passed away. Unfortunately, he did. There were two other people that passed away. George Barris, you know who that is?
He created the Batmobile, the '66 Batmobile, right?
Yep, he created the Batmobile, and he also did the Munstermobile, apparently.
Okay, yeah, sure, would have been close around the same time, yeah.
Yep. So he was huge in Hollywood. Just iconic, for what he created.
Well, and I mean that, if nothing else. Like
right.
I would love to just have one thing. I'd take just that. Some people it's like, oh yeah, they did this and and this. I'm like, let me just have one. That's just one thing that's gonna go down in history.
And that absolutely will go down in history. The Batmobile is super iconic. Everyone knows what it looks like. A lot of people know what the newer versions look like, but everybody knows what that old classic '60s. What was it, a Lincoln? Something or another.
Yeah, yeah.
Right, yeah, looked like it was classy and classic, I should say, not classy.
Well, it was a little classy too. Yeah.
Right, it was cool. It was cool. No top, which I always found odd, but it was such a cool vehicle. We had Melissa Matheson. Am I saying that right?
Yeah, Matt Matheson, I think. Yeah.
Matheson, yeah. She wrote the screenplay for E.T. And she passed away, unfortunately, at the age of 65.
Yeah, that's young in this day and age, man.
Really is. It really is. She was apparently married to the Harrison Ford. I wasn't aware of that. So that's kind of scary. Yeah, 65 is super, super young for this day and age. And yeah.
See, and again, it's like there's, I'll take one. It's like, what was her? Well, she wrote the screenplay for E.T. Stop. That's enough. Like,
right. I was listening to Kevin Smith's podcast, and they were talking about her, and they brought up how a few studios passed on E.T.
Really?
Yeah.
That's not as surprising as I think it is, really.
Yeah, to me it is. I mean, they were kind of making fun of how, like, they were like, oh, you made Jaws, you made Indiana Jones, this E.T. alien movie about a kid who can't get along with his parents and wants to run away with an alien. No one would love to see that. Like, I just thought it was so funny. It was so right. Like, but you're right though. Hollywood. It's imagine the guy whose job it was to pass E.T.
Well, it's like the guy who passed on the Beatles. It's the same thing. It's like, oh yeah, you guys will never work.
Oh, imagine trying to sleep at night.
Oh man, it's gotta haunt you. You look at anything that, and hindsight 2020 and all that, but still, it's like that's a tough call. That kind of judgment is rough, and you're not gonna get them all right, but.
Right. Yeah. No, it's just, oh man, that's. Yeah, that's gotta be a rough one, but yep. Well, I mean, there's no real way to segue into this, so we'll just head into our movie talk. Let's kind of save the Warcraft stuff for its own segment, since there's a ton to digest with that trailer, even though it wasn't even really that long. But I just want to talk about Warcraft a lot, so let's start talking about an announcement that was pretty big. The Witcher. Plague Films and Sean Daniel Company producing film based on the series that inspired a popular game franchise. What do you think of that, man?
Hey, they've got material. I mean, and it could be interesting. It's why people would want like an Elder Scrolls movie. It's just the next big fantasy thing. And I think The Witcher works because it's more grounded, it's more mature, without being excessively, without being kind of like a caricature of sorts or a parody, but like it's more like it could be. It's something that you can look at and you can say, oh yeah, they made a book or they made a game and a movie based off the book. It's not technically a video game movie. It's gonna be that's gonna be the obnoxious part of that conversation when it comes out. Because some people are just, it's a book movie. No, it's a video game movie, and that's gonna inspire flame wars all over the place.
Well, I mean, I'll be honest. I actually would rather have it as a TV show. I would dig The Witcher as a TV show, just because it to me it fits that formulaic setting where, like, he goes on an adventure and he has a set goal. He needs to get to this place. It's just like the game. You have a major goal. You're trying to find somebody, but then every step along the way there is some crazy adventure of somebody asking you to do something.
True.
And to me, that would, dude, I would kill to see that on HBO or something like that. It'd be perfect. I mean, let's be honest. Game of Thrones has 2 years left. If HBO, and if I was sitting at HBO, I would love that. First of all, that would be a great position to have. Yeah. But if I was there, I'd say, look at this series. It is perfect for a TV show. There's tons of lore. It's as brutal as Game of Thrones. It's as realistic as Game of Thrones. I mean, these people want to fight. They want to have sex. It's not just high fantasy elves running around. You know what I mean? Like, it's actual, like, you can feel the characters. You can, like, I understand why he's doing that. I understand why he'd want to have a break, to have a threesome. You know, like, you if you play the game, you know how just adult the actual game is, and that, to me, that would be a perfect place in a televised show, compared to, let's do 2 hours. Let's try and fit all of this in 2 hours. It's not really gonna, to me, that kind of storytelling doesn't really vibe. You know what I mean?
Right, but again, Hollywood looks at films like miniseries anymore.
Oh,
like
that's true.
Everything that's being made is not being made because it's a great story. It's being made because there's franchise potential.
That's true. It's going to take 6 years to tell. God, it's just that's super annoying. It's going to take 6 years to tell the first half of a video game, pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know, but I mean, I'm excited that it's going to be something, because The Witcher deserves to be something. It's a huge game. It's one of my favorite I played this year. There's so much into it that I've stopped playing it, and I'm sure I'll get back to it. Destiny's kind of the game that it's always going to be on the back burner. I'm always going to take a break, come back, take a break, come back, take a break, come back. During my break time, I want to play RPGs where I'm not talking to anybody, I'm not dealing with anybody, and I'm just enthralled in the world. And so Witcher's one of them. I really want to get back to it, but Fallout's kind of going to, I have a feeling it's going to be taking its place. Let's see here. Let's get one more story here before we take a break. Did you see the new Star Wars footage?
Yes, a lot.
Yeah. I didn't see it that much. Like I said, I had company over. We watched it before we went crazy at EDC. But tell me, what did you think of it, man? It was a Japanese trailer, right?
It was. I don't know if it was an Asian trailer, because I'm sorry, I can't tell the languages apart.
Yeah, I'm reading here it's Japanese, so I
hope
okay. We didn't offend anybody. So.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
But no, it was. I mean, it's largely the same. I mean, there's just a handful of extra shots here and there, and then the same thing with the TV spot. Right. It was largely the same thing. I'll never forget the first time the commercial came on. I'm over here in my room, had my headphones on. I was playing some Halo, and all of a sudden, like, I can hear it. Like, I can just hear Star Wars.
Did you just say playing some Halo?
I did. Why?
Are we teasing something? Okay, we'll get back to that.
We'll come back to that. But
we'll come back to that.
So I jumped out. I didn't see the thing where they announced, we have a TV spot. I heard it on TV, and I was like, what the hell is this doing on TV?
Oh, wow, that's cool.
So I was like, that was a fun way to find out.
That's kind of funny you say that. I can't remember the last time where I saw something organically on a commercial like that, where I didn't see it on YouTube first. Like, this just dropped.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, the TV spot for Star Wars saw on YouTube. I saw a bunch of websites. Nowadays, I get a Twitter or whatever saying, this was just released, go watch it. I haven't seen, like, hey, this just randomly watching TV and it's like, here's this thing.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's odd. But tell you what, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back. Again, you're listening to We Geek Podcast on the N.FM. See you in a minute. Welcome back to We Geek Podcast on the N.FM, and got some more movie news for you. I saw that Universal was they're doing a Little Mermaid remake. Did you see this?
Is it live? It's live action, isn't it?
It's live action, yeah. It says
okay.
Universal's live action remake of The Little Mermaid basically lost Sofia Coppola as the director, but now they have someone to play their title character. Former Hit Girl and Hugo star Chloe Grace. Is that right?
Yeah, Chloe Grace Moretz, yeah.
Right, that's it, yeah. The girl from Hit Girl. What do you think of that? I didn't know they were doing a Little Mermaid movie.
I didn't either. I think it's a good choice. I think she's a great actor.
It is. Now, wouldn't Disney own the rights to that? Or is that just such a story that's so big that anyone can do it?
Well, here's the thing. I don't know what... Because it's a fairy tale. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I don't know how... I don't know how those would work out.
Right, that's true, yeah, because they kind of take everything. I know...
well, there was something... I forget. There was something else. Come back to me on this one, because there was something else that I was thinking about like that.
Well, I know they're gonna do some other studio was doing Aladdin, right? Um, that's Disney though. I mean, yeah, yeah. Oh, speaking of, did you see that for the next 25 years, Disney cannot use any sort of Robin Williams recording to make any new Aladdin film or to promote any new Aladdin.
Interesting.
Right, it was in his will that he wanted to be able to protect his character, that he didn't want Disney to be able to make any sort of money off of it or
Well,
to.
and the thing was, like, that was part of the fallout why he didn't come back for the first sequel was his whole thing of like he wasn't the main character and he wanted it that way. Like he didn't want to be the focus of all the marketing material and everything.
Oh, okay.
And so they put him front and center over Aladdin and Jasmine and he was like, no, that's not right. That's not the way this works.
Gotcha. Yeah, I knew there's a lot of beef that was between him and Disney. I need to look up that one day. I've always kind of known it, you know what I mean, just parts of it. But yeah, man, dude, yeah, apparently it's in paper. Disney's prohibited from using any sort of Robin Williams outtakes in any way for 25 years.
Wow.
So they can't use it in promotion. They can't take what he's recorded and try and fix anything. So apparently it says here Disney has shelved any sort of plans to make a new Aladdin, which I guess they were apparently wanting to do before his death, and then it's now absolutely on hold because they can't use any sort of his material. So
right.
Yeah. Man, but yeah, let's get into some other movie news. We're kind of hold off on the Warcraft stuff for now. So we'll kind of jump around here a bit. This more in like video game movie news because we got a lot. Did you see this? Call of Duty Activision Blizzard Studios founded to produce a movie based on the popular franchise. Also developing animated Skylanders TV series with the cast to include Justin Long as Spyro, interesting, Ashley Tisdale as Stealth Elf, Justin Banks as Interpreter.
Jonathan Banks.
Jonathan, I'm just skipping over words here, sorry. And Norm Macdonald as Glumshanks.
I know nothing about Skylanders, but I'll watch it just for that cast.
Right, that's a really great cast. Yeah, Spyro was that was around it was right after like Crash Bandicoot, right?
It was around the same time, yeah.
Spyro the Dragon. Yeah, I remember it being around PlayStation 1. To me when I saw it I was like, that's not really for me, where Crash I really liked. I don't know for what reason. One was Crash Bandicoot, one was Bandicoot, one was a dragon, but I wonder what studio did that. I don't want to
Naughty Dog.
It was Naughty Dog, right? Okay.
I think they did all that stuff. Now maybe I'll check that because I may be wrong.
Insomniac Games was the developer.
Okay. Yeah. Yes.
I knew we knew it was a first party game. Yeah. So, but and then it later on in its franchise it kind of spun off into like, wasn't it where you had like the characters, like the actual toys and whatnot? Well, is that Skylanders? Am I thinking?
That's Skylanders. Yeah, and then they kind of co-opted, like they took Spyro in and everything.
Gotcha. Okay, that's what it was. Gotcha.
But yeah,
dude, I'm a sucker for animated movies. I have no shame. I still watch them. One I want to see is that dinosaur one that's coming out.
Oh, the Good Dinosaur.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, what do you think about so Activision Blizzard Studios is going to produce the movie. They're not a studio.
That's what that is. Activision Blizzard founded a production studio called Activision Blizzard Studios.
Oh my god, that is awesome.
Yeah. Yeah,
that opens up Diablo. I mean, Warcraft I guess is they're in association with whatever company they're doing it.
Legendary? Lionsgate?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
You go ahead. Sorry.
I don't know. Like I couldn't remember which one it is. I get them confused.
Right.
I know it's a Universal thing.
Yes, I'm sure they still own the rights if they want to do a movie later on. But that's kind of really cool. I mean, we've always kind of talked about why is there not a Call of Duty movie?
Because we have 12,000 other war movies.
I mean, this would be its own thing. I mean, we have war movies, but most war movies are based on actual wars.
Well,
We don't have fake war movies that much, right? I can't
not
think of one.
not as much. I mean, Red Dawn, which was a remake of the previous Red Dawn.
But
But
I think that's really cool. There's something to historical films that, really, hit you hard when you're watching a historical film because that shit really happened and that those people really lost their lives. And you know what I mean? Like, there's
yeah,
something absolutely to those films, but there's also, I think, something to a film where it's like, you don't know what's going to happen. Here's a war film, here's some characters, I guess G.I. Joe was kind of like one, but
that and
a Call of Duty one would be really cool, I think. Like, their story is actually really good when you're
yeah,
playing.
they've gotten better. They genuinely have. I will happily give them that.
Yep, but I know a lot of people love playing for the multiplayer. Some of them only play the multiplayer. I actually really enjoy the single player of that game. I don't enjoy the multiplayer that much. But that's really interesting. Blizzard, Activision has the money. They really do. If it hits off, it could hit off. And dude, if they did a Diablo.
Oh, could you imagine there's your TV series.
Yes, there's your TV series. Bingo, put that baby on HBO. Oh man, that would be fantastic.
I'll take that. I'll do that. That'll work.
You just blew my mind. That HBO, AMC, something, man. Put it right there along with their wait, my mind just went blank. What am I thinking of? The new series they just announced. We'll get back to that in the TV section. Yeah, there's a new zombie show for AMC. If you haven't.
Oh
heard.
yeah. Okay. Yeah.
My mind just kind of had a stroke there for a second, but we'll get back to that. Yeah, man, I think that's really cool. We got some more movie news here. Universal decided to pull the Steve Jobs and Jim and the Holograms film from theaters after 2 and 3 weeks, respectively. What do you think about that, man?
Yeah, they had Gem and the Holograms in theaters 2 weeks. 2 weeks. And then they said, nope, no more. 2 weeks. Like, not even keeping it, not even just like letting it out there. Or saying, like, because what they did with Steve Jobs was it's in like 2,400 theaters. And they yanked it from 2,000. So it's still playing at like 400 and some theaters. Gem and the Holograms, they yanked completely.
Oh, wow.
Like, it's not, you can't find it.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, I didn't even know it was in the theater.
Yeah, and I think that was
much advertising.
Yeah, I think that was the problem.
Yeah, I mean, I remember we talked about it before in the previous episodes. We've talked about it and whatnot. I've seen no advertising. It seems like all we get now is Star Wars.
Yeah, well.
There's not a human on this planet that doesn't know there's a new Star Wars film coming out.
And that,
it's what it seems. It really does seem like that. It reminds me of back in the 90s where you went to Pizza Hut, you saw Star Wars. You got a Mountain Dew, you saw Star Wars. You went to Toys R Us, you saw Star Wars. You saw your grandma and she said, hey, did you know there's a new Star Wars coming out? Disney has spent so much money on advertising this. No other film is getting any sort of love, it seems like.
Well, and I mean, here's something interesting. You shared a Kevin Smith podcast story earlier. I'll share one. He talked about he was doing something about that Tim Burton Batman film back in the day. Mm-hmm. And he was talking about how there's never been anything that's had, like, you couldn't get away from it. Mm-hmm. Like, it was and as much as everything is mass marketed now, nothing stands out as much as that did back then. Yeah. Like, it was like Beatlemania or Elvis or something that huge. We have it now again. You can't get away from Star Wars. It is everywhere. They're arguing about it on news programs. Like, it's everywhere.
Yep.
And I love it. I mean,
I'm pretty sure Starbucks will come out with the Star Wars cup pretty soon.
Well, they'll have to. Nobody likes their Christmas cup.
Exactly.
That's bizarre.
Yeah, man. So yeah, dude, I know I'm gonna bring up Star Wars a million more times in the show, but I can't wait for that movie. So yeah, it's the Steve Jobs one's really interesting for me because that's from what I understand, you've said it's a good film. Why are people not seeing it?
Because we've had a documentary, an unlicensed documentary, another dramatic biography, a book. I mean, we've had such saturation on it. Had this one been the first Steve Jobs film, it would have made a ridiculous amount of money.
Yeah.
Because we haven't heard this story so many times. And to be fair, what this movie does is it does focus more on the stories we actually haven't heard. And I would still recommend, find this playing wherever you are and go see it.
If it's at the theater here in Altamont this weekend, I'll probably go see it because I know one of my family members really attacked Geek, and they actually asked me if I wanted to go see it, so I'll probably go see it with them.
Go see it. It is definitely worth it, and I'm kind of sad that this it's not making the money that it should, so that they're saying, well, we're gonna pull it because it's a drain or whatever their reasoning was, and it sucks because you watch it, and when you see it, you'll see like this is had we gotten this movie first, it would have been Fassbender would have won an Academy Award.
Oh, awesome!
I guarantee. Really he is fantastic in it. It's a good movie. It's a genuinely good movie.
Awesome. I'm psyched. Yeah, I'll probably go see that this week, and I'll let you know what I think. This is kind of a funny bit of news. Did you know Godzilla turned 61 this week?
Really?
Yeah, it's been that old. Yep. Man, and so yeah, I can't wait to see the new Godzilla movie and the new Godzilla vs. King Kong movie. Still pumping them out after all these years.
I'm telling you, man.
61 years old. I've said it before on the show. My grandma loves Godzilla for some reason. She's seen all of them. She's seen the new one I think like 3 times ever since I got it for her. And yeah.
Well, I mean, hey, it's a good second half of a movie.
Yeah. Oh yeah, she absolutely. She's like, "Where's Godzilla?" the whole time. Where is he? He's coming. But yeah, it was good. Did you see the Finding Dory teaser?
I did. It was adorable.
Yep. Oh yeah, I can't wait to see that.
That's gonna be cool.
Oh yeah, absolutely. These Pixar movies knock it out of the park. Let's see here. Well, we're coming up to a break, so we'll take a quick break. We still got just a little bit of movie news to talk about, and then we'll probably squeeze the Warcraft stuff into the next segment as well. So we'll see you in just a second. Again, you're listening to We Geek Podcast on the N.FM. See you in a few minutes. Welcome back to We Geek Podcast on the N.FM, and we got some more movie news to talk about. Hey, man, you take the John Wick stuff.
Okay. Yeah, we've got some people coming back to John Wick 2. We got it from Deadline. Peter Stormare, who I love. He's in Until Dawn.
Oh, okay.
He plays like a shrink in Until Dawn, and he's like, I love him. I could watch him in everything. He's fantastic. Ruby Rose from Orange is the New Black.
What?
Yeah, all right.
She's cool.
That's a show I need to watch. That's one of those that's like up at the top of the list of,
you haven't seen it?
That's the same freaking reaction everybody has. Like, I'm sorry, God. I have like 17 shows I have to keep up with. Get off my back.
Oh no, but this is this is Orange is the New Black, and I won't go too much into it, but it is the perfect mix of comedy and drama that I think I have ever seen. There's moments where you're truly laughing, and there's moments where you truly feel that these are real fleshed out characters. I swear to God, I watch a show and I'm like, these have to be based on real people, because the way they, when you first go into it, I don't know any women in prison. I don't know what women in prison would even be like. But the way these characters just feel so real, if that makes sense. And it's so good. It's so freaking good. You got to see that. That's a must, man.
All right. And Ricardo Scamarcio from Burnt, which I've heard is an awful movie.
Right. Unfortunately,
because my mom keeps saying, she's like, I want to go see that because it's a restaurant movie, and I'm like, yeah, it's a family thing. We're gonna go.
Yeah.
There's a funny story. I don't know if I told this on the last podcast, but when I saw Bridge of Spies, before it, the trailer for Burnt played, and Burnt was actually screening in the theater across the hall from where I was watching Bridge of Spies.
Oh, wow.
So that was bizarre. But
yeah, that is funny.
But yeah, those 3 have been added to the John Wick 2 cast. We don't know who they're playing yet, but I'm in. Peter Stormare will be some crime boss, most likely. because
Yeah.
that's just kind of his caricature. It's kind of where he, in a movie like this is where he's best fit, and I'm in.
Oh
I'm in
yeah.
just for that.
Absolutely. He'll have his hair slicked back, dude. I really want to see Fargo. I've heard nothing but good things about
You
it.
haven't seen that?
I know, yeah. I've heard the same thing you heard about Orange is the New Black.
Yeah, don't worry, I haven't seen Fargo yet either. So.
Right. Oh yeah, yeah. No, I gotta see that show because I liked the movie. But I hear the show. It's like it's one story of the first season and it's a completely different story of the second.
It's an anthology thing, like American Horror Story.
Right. Exactly. So, I definitely want to check that out. We got some. Now I don't know if you saw this because this is kind of spoilery. Did you see the concept art for Supreme Leader Snoke from Star Wars: The Force Awakens?
I did not see this.
I wouldn't. Don't
Okay.
go looking for it. I was kind of disappointed by it. I hope it doesn't look like that because it's a bit odd. It's it. I'm not even going to go into it, but it just in my mind, it's not what I was expecting. But then I think this is Star Wars. There are things out there that look like that, so it's not too weird. But I don't know. It's strange. It's not what I expected. The first, what do you call it? What do they call themselves?
That's the First Order, right?
The First Order. You think it's not what I expected the First Order, their leader, to look like. If that makes sense, and that's all I'll say.
Yeah. Misa thinking you in for some surprises, betcha.
Right, exactly, yeah. Oh yeah, and it's Andy Serkis who does the voice and the whole acting for it. So
right.
Yeah. Let's see here. What do we got? What other movie news we got? Oh, Lawrence Kasdan says that Han Solo anthology will be the final Star Wars film for him. He said 4 is enough.
Yeah. Again, like this is another one. We talked about this earlier. He's done screenplays for how many Star Wars movies?
4. I think this will be the 4th one.
This will be his 4th Star Wars film. God, yeah, that's right. You just said that. But
yeah,
but,
yep.
Tack that on top of which Indiana Jones film was it? Was it Raiders that he did?
I'm not sure. Probably, yeah.
I know it was at least one of them. I mean, come on, man. Like I'm sure he's got who knows what else going on. And this is something that if you, especially now, you could be, and I hate to say it this way with something like Star Wars, but from a career perspective, you could just kind of get stuck in this.
Oh, yeah.
Like this becomes the only thing you do. And I'm sure, as a writer, you want to branch out, you want to do more. So you have to peel yourself away at some point.
Just like you said, just give me one. If someone was if you were just attached to one big film like that, Star Wars, and you got 4 of them, holy crap! Yeah. Oh man, but yeah, that's cool. I mean, I'm glad he's doing the Han Solo film because that could be very bad. That is such an iconic character that Harrison Ford just nails, and I love that. I saw an article about what's going on with Harrison Ford in this film. He's very much in his 70s in the film, apparently. He's not going to try and act like a young Harrison Ford. It's very much going to be an older Harrison Ford, not exactly doing the right thing. He's going to be an old man in the film. And I really dig that. I really dig that he's not going to try and be this I can't pronounce words right now. But he's not going to be the Han Solo that we saw in Return of the Jedi. You know what I mean?
I mean, that would just, that would only make sense. It was kind of like what they did with Schwarzenegger in The Last Stand. Just in the sense of like, and I love that movie. I don't care what anybody says. I enjoy the hell out of it. But, it was the idea of like, he's old. We just need to acknowledge it. There's just so much that we can't do about it, and they got a little cheesy with it. But I like the idea of just it is what it is.
Oh, I never seen that film. It had Johnny Knoxville in it.
Oh, you've never seen? You should watch it. You'll come away with it probably the same way I did, which was like, not a great film, but enjoyable. It was one of those. It was like it was a fun was it like an hour and a half, hour 40, I think.
Yeah, I mean, that's usually how I walk away from Arnold Schwarzenegger films.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. But cool. Let's see here. I can't pronounce this next one for Ghost in the Shell.
Oh, Pilu Asbæk. Yeah,
Right,
from
as
Lucy.
Cat.
Yeah.
Right, Lucy Ben-Hur in the upcoming sixth season of Game of Thrones have been cast as Rupert Sanders in the live-action adaptation of the classic manga/anime Ghost in the Shell. He'll play the main lead. What do you think of this? You saw this before, right? Ghost in the Shell?
No.
Oh, okay. All right. So yeah, I don't know much about it either. So,
I
but
I
that's cool.
I think I did see like a long time ago. I saw, I don't know, some part of it. I think some part of the anime or something. I'm trying to remember. Cause didn't they do? I don't remember. But if I think I saw some. It was one of those things that's like it's been so long I can't remember if that's
Right.
even what it was.
Okay. Well, hey, let's break down the World of Warcraft trailer.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much time we have left on the segment, but what we'll do is I'm going to break down the World of Warcraft trailer. What I liked about it. Actually, first I want to hear what you think because you've never actually played the game. You don't know much about it. What did you think of it?
I thought this looks interesting. It did exactly what a trailer should do. I thought, okay, we know orcs, humans, I got it, and we know, okay, third force, bad. We all get the premise. And then
Right.
seeing, oh, this particular orc is kind of an outsider amongst orcs. Oh, go figure.
Mhm.
It hit familiar beats. But looking at the environment, I loved the environment
Mhm.
because I'm not, it's like you said, I'm not familiar with it, but all the same, I love interesting settings.
Mhm.
And those are, I think a lot of times that gets overlooked. It's not just, oh, it takes place in this place. It's like, how is the place a character? And I think
Right.
that gets overlooked a lot. But, you have something like Blade Runner, which embraced that. And
Mhm.
it's everything. You have so many things that work against the setting, or they just kind of like happen to exist here with no real thought put into it. But that was the thing that stuck out to me was that this world looks like it belongs. All of this belongs in this world, and it had a real cohesion to it, and it was gorgeous. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely, dude. When I was looking at the trailer, I noticed just if as a fan of the video games, the artwork was all over the place.
Yeah.
The ways when they show Westfall and it's for a second. If you don't play the game, you'd have no idea what we're talking about. There's a moment where the orcs are walking into a field and you're seeing a vast field with maybe some barns burning down, and you see a big what would you call it? Oh, what are those? Like a windmill thing in the background. That's Westfall. That is the second area as a human you get to, and it's the first time you'll probably actually even encounter um, other players from the Horde side. Because in the game, if you're not aware of it, in World of Warcraft, you pick one side or the other. There's two sides. You pick the Alliance, which are like humans, elves, the dwarfs, and whatnot. And the Horde side, you pick the orcs, you pick the trolls, you pick, it's very two different sides, and the undead and whatnot. And that's kind of the first area they clash. You clash with other players, and you can see the the horde kind of walking into that area, and you see this, some of the actual things from the video game. Like there's these things that crop the grass. You see it in the distance for only a second, and those are the kind of things that really got me excited. Any other people who watch it and not a fan of it or don't play the games would have no clue. They probably have no idea what I just said. But as a fan, seeing that, I'm like, they nailed it. That's Westfall. I could tell the second they showed it. Yeah, man. The certain other things like when you see Medivh and his tower, it's from the very beginning of the trailer, and you see like it kind of you see like a thing exploding on it. That is just dead on. And basically, I mean, basically the orcs are from one planet, Draenor. Think of it as a planet, you know, light years away. Their
Okay.
planet's dying. The ogres or the orcs dealt in magic they really shouldn't have, and it really screwed them all up. The orcs are all brown. The demon magic kind of turns them green when they mess with it. That's why you'll see green orcs and you'll see browner orcs. Their planet's dying, and they say that in the trailer, so that's not a spoiler. They there's a bridge that bridges their planet to ours, so they come into ours as an invasion, pretty much. Some of them don't see it as invasion. Some of the orcs are like, we can live in peace with the humans. Some of them are like, nope, we need to invade because that's all we know. And they say that in the trailer. They're like, all we know is war. And of course, the humans and the alliance of humans, you see them around that table, which is, dude, it's straight up from the game. You go to that room in the game, like that town. When you see the human city, that's in the game. Like all of it's in the game. When you fly on that griffin, that exact spot is in the game. And so, you have your humans are like, we got to do something about this. Some of the humans are like, we need to completely wipe them out. Some of them are like, maybe we should let them live in a place in our world. Maybe there's a spot for them. So like you said at the beginning of it, you totally understand that. And that's it. I'm not going to spoil what happens from there on out, but it's super cool. And oh man, there's just so much to go over here. Like you saw the wolves that were with the orcs.
Yeah.
Yeah, they ride on those things. Like that's the mount that you get if you're an orc. You also see. Did you see the green baby? The green orc baby? That's Thrall. Well, actually, I'll tell you what. I'll talk about it a little bit when we come back. I'll break down just a few more things, and then we'll get into some video game news. But again, you're listening to We Geek Podcast on the N.FM. See you in a minute. Welcome back to We Geek Podcast on the N.FM, and let's talk a little bit more about that WoW trailer. So, yeah, man, like I was saying, like this is one of those franchises where there is so much lore to pick from, and I forget how long the trailer was. There was just so much stuff. I should also say this movie takes place a long time before the World of Warcraft, which most people associate the franchise with, the big MMO. The MMO starts probably it would be the third film in the franchise, would probably be around where World of Warcraft starts out, where there's an actual alliance of a lot of the races on each side. This story is going to be mostly just humans and orcs. There's just to give you an example of how many different kind of creatures are in the World of Warcraft. First of all, there's humans, there's orcs. On the orc side, which is the Horde, there are Tauren, which are like cow people pretty much. There's trolls, which I haven't seen any in the trailer. There's the undead, which I didn't see any in the trailer. There's blood elves, which I did. They're on the human side in this movie. Blood elves were more along with the alliance. I didn't see any goblins. They're on the orc side, and Pandaren, which are pretty much like panda people. And they're not going to be seen for a while because they're not seen for much later in World of Warcraft. On the alliance side, there's Worgen, which are like werewolves. There's dwarfs. There's gnomes. There's humans. There's night elves, which are pretty much like blood elves, but they're just purple. And there's a lot more to them, but I'm saying look-wise. And there's creatures called the Draenei. Now, this is where I wanted to get into it about the creatures. Think of Azeroth as Earth. It's a planet with humans and whatever. The orcs planet of Draenor were orcs and Draenei. Now, the orcs and the Draenei lived peacefully for a very long time. Right? Give me a little history lesson with WoW. They lived peacefully for a while until the demon magic. And this is where the Legion, the Burning Legion, comes into play. Basically, and I don't want to get into spoiler territory, but that's what that third faction is, and that's where the real bad guys are, and that's what they're talking about in the trailer. The demon blood and everything else. That's what kind of sets the orcs crazy. And so that's what, sets off everything. And so that this film is going to be hopefully the first in a long set of films. And like I said, man, you could just get so much into it. Let's kind of break it down here. You see Medivh, Archmage Medivh, which is played by Ben Foster in the film. He's like a mage. Think of like a mage. So that's the guy running around with the beard. You know who Ben Foster is, right?
Yeah, he was in. My mind just totally went blank.
Vikings.
Yes, thank you. God.
Right. Yeah. Oh yeah. And Khadgar is his apprentice, Medivh's apprentice. So he is, just think of a younger mage. You see the human cities. we see Andy and Lothar. Basically, he was dubbed the Lion of Azeroth. The human, the Alliance side in the game, their symbol is the lion. So eventually, that will become the symbol of the Alliance. And yeah, so the green baby that I was talking about before in the trailer, that's Thrall. That's going to be a huge player if they make more films, because he actually becomes the leader of the Horde. He is brave, and he's just their leader. He's such a in the game, a lot of people pick the Horde side because the Horde are these just big ugly creatures. They're not like the Alliance, but he but he is such a really cool leader in the game, and he's actually such a pivotal character in the entire story. He's the reasoning in the Horde, where a lot of the characters, especially like the leader of the undead, they're just unhinged, they're nuts, they're crazy. He's the sane person that's like, hey, we can get along with the humans. There's always that one guy in the film that always screws it up whenever a certain group of people are trying to get along with another group of people. There's that one guy who's always screwing up. That's not him. He's the guy that's the level-headed, look, they are not like us, but we can live in this world together, and we don't have to conquer it. We can live in peace. So Thrall, ends up becoming such a pivotal part in it. So yeah, it's just, there's really not that much to go off of with the trailer. I'm trying to think of some other things in the movie that I saw. You see Thrall's mom, you see his dad, who is the leader of the orcs at the moment. And there's a scene in the trailer where you see her actually putting him in the river. I don't know if you caught that.
Yeah, so like a little Moses moment.
It was. There's a little Moses moment like that. And fun kind of fact, the leader of the Alliance right now has the same kind of he has a story similar to that, where basically Thrall's put in the river, he's sent away, he is captured by the humans, he is with the humans. That's why he kind of doesn't hate them as much as the orcs, because he lived with them, he gained respect for them and from them. The leader of the humans right now, Varian, has a similar story, sort of. He has a lot of memory loss. He basically washed up on the shore where the orcs are. He went into, what do you call it? Like a gladiator type thing,
okay.
And he gained the respect of a lot of Horde people. And then all of a sudden, when he gets his memory back and he comes back, he returns as the king or whatnot. That's much later in this story, but it's the same kind of. These are the two big leaders of the Alliance and the Horde, and they both have respect for the other side. They both seen what it's like on the other side, and they both realize that they're a lot alike than what they than what they think. So I don't know. It was really cool. The animation looks amazing. It looks like this looks like the next kind of Lord of the Rings series.
That was what it seemed like they were going with. I know enough about Warcraft to know that the lore on it is huge. There are people. We had somebody when I was at Full Sail. We had somebody from Activision Blizzard come in and talk to us. He was part of a panel. I think it was on writing for video games, who talked about they have people on staff whose title is actually, and I want to see if I remember this right, they threw a little humor into it. It's Keeper of the Lore of Azeroth.
Yeah.
Like that's their, like they maintain they maintain the continuity. And that's got to be probably the nerdiest job on the planet.
Oh, dude,
and I would want it in a heartbeat.
Oh yeah. And as much lore as there is in Star Wars, there's just enough in Warcraft. And and you know how big of a Star Wars fan I am. I honestly believe that, because there are so many places in this world that they have touched in the games, in the books, and everything, that it's really way too much to tell in movie format. We keep going back to this. This is one of those things where it would kill as a TV show, because there's just so much. And hopefully the movie kills. Hopefully it does big numbers. It has to. I mean, I can't think of how many people on this planet hasn't played WoW. I know you said you haven't. You might have touched it, but I have so many friends who aren't even into MMOs. That's the big dog. It kind of knocked over EverQuest, I think, as the biggest MMO of all time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just that, like I said, there's so many little areas in it. In this film, we're really only going to get, from what I've seen, the humans and the orcs. We're going to tell the story of the first Warcraft game. So we're not even into the world of Warcraft, where it just branches out to all the different races, all the different time periods. And if you want to talk about timey-wimey stuff, the last two expansions have all been timey-wimey. Basically, not to get too much into it, but there's a point in one of the last expansions where someone just opens up a time portal, goes back to Draenor before they all turn into, they're touched by the demon blood, and then we're sent there because some crazy orc leaders go there and start an army. So like, it gets very timey-wimey where you're, it's kind of a cool thing because in the game right now, you're actually seeing a lot of these older characters. They're meeting them. Thrall is meeting a lot of these older legends that he's only heard of. And so it's really interesting. He sees his Doomhammer, which you actually see in the trailer. You see all these cool weapons and whatnot. So you can tell the creators of the games are very well aware that the movie was being made, and so they started kind of making the game. It's not like they were like, hey, the movie's coming out, so we have to do this. It's like, this would be really cool, and this would be a cool story to tell because there's so much lore in the first part of all of this, why they're even here. It's not like Lord of the Rings where they're just there and it's the humans and the orcs and whatever. It's like these things are from a different planet. They're aliens, if you think about it. They're aliens invading. They're just orcs. So it's just such a cool story. Like I said, if you go into the trailer as a fan and you see all the artwork, you see all the flags, you see the little things like how they put the candles on the table, how they are above the air. It's exactly like the video game. There's parts where they're looking at the cities, they're looking at the landscapes. Like there's a whole scene with the landscapes where you see the waterfall and you see like an explosion of a tower. I know exactly where that tower is in the game. It's just such little cool things like that. They show a flag with the Horde symbol on it right next to a big stone archway, which is the actual archway that they go through to go to the new planet. So like, they must have had people, working on the game, sitting there with them going, you need to put this in, you need to put this in. That's not how the stonework is in this town. That's not how that looks. And dude, you couldn't get any closer. So I'll stop talking about Warcraft, but you can't get better. And I really do believe that this is going to be the video game movie. And I'm saying that in quotations. That it finally breaks through and is not just a good video game movie, but a good movie. It just so happens to be based on a video game.
Right.
And I think hopefully that kind of sets the standards where they get good writers, they get good directors, they get good actors, and they already do for this film. But I'm saying moving forward, just like they did with comic book films, it took a while before the studios trusted it. They didn't trust a lot of comic book films to do too good at the beginning, and now look at them. Look, Avengers is just going to sell, like buku's amount of money. So they're throwing all their money at the comic book franchise. Hopefully 5 years from now, 10 years from now, we're saying the same thing about video game franchises where they're like, look, there's a good story to tell here. We just need actual people that trust the material. Just like they did with comic book movies. You hear Kevin Smith say it all the time. You give it to someone who actually knows the material. Same with video games. It looks like they know it. When you see that trailer as a Warcraft fan, you couldn't ask for anything else. Before we go to break, though, you talked about lore. There's a guy's YouTube out there. His name is Noble87. So Nobbel 87. Look up his YouTube channel. It is nothing but lore videos on WoW. If you want to just dive deep into WoW lore, start there. He has a whole video called just about what is the world of Warcraft. It's like an hour long, and it goes into so much. But Anyway, we'll be right back. We're going to take a break. Again, you're listening to We Geek Podcast on the N.FM. See you in a minute. Welcome back to We Geek Podcast on the N.FM. And yeah, man, so that's it for Warcraft. I'm sure we'll come back to that topic in a later date because there's just a ton to talk about. But yeah, man, let's get into some video game news. I want you to take the first one. I know you're excited about this.
Some video game news or some TV news?
Some TV news. I just had a stroke, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
I got TV news. Yes, Joel Hodgson, who some of you out there may remember from a little show that started on cable access a long, long time ago, called Mystery Science Theater 3000. They have finally cleared the rights to use the actual name. A lot of you are probably familiar with Rift Tracks, which was a spin-off project from the latter trio. That was Kevin and Mike and Bill, instead of the original cast, Joel and Trace and Frank. And anyway, sorry, get off on a little history. Joel they've cleared the rights through Shout, which does a lot of the DVD stuff. So they're finally able to get the show up and running again. So they've started a Kickstarter. And he specifically cites Veronica Mars and Reading Rainbow as things that you can say, hey, if your show or whatever has a devoted following, then you can make it work. You know, the power of the people and so on and so on. And the way they're doing this is they've set a minimum goal, $2 million. That's how much it's going to cost them to produce 3 full feature-length episodes. And for each, 1.1 million they raise after that, they can do 3 more.
Oh, nice.
So their ultimate stretch goal is $5.5 million to do a full 12-episode season. And they launched it on this past Tuesday morning, on the 10th. As of 1:15 on Wednesday, November 11th, they're up to $861,524.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So, needless to say, this is going to get funded and then some. Probably by I wouldn't be surprised if this is funded by the time we're on. Yeah. I would love the symmetry of, like, we're broadcast talking about this. You're hearing this right now, and they're funded. I would love to check that. Like, where exactly are they while we're talking about this? That would just be hysterical.
Yeah.
But that's our Kickstarter of the week. I would love to find, like, a little project like this, little project, I say, but something that's like, hey, this is really cool, or I'm really excited about this, go take a look at it, donate, or at least just kind of pass it along to people.
Yeah, man. No, I think that's a great idea. We should do that. Absolutely. Yeah, man, I'm excited about that. I know you are, dude. And one of the friend of the show, Ralph, he just absolutely loves that. He really digs watching that because they always do the goofy sci-fi movies, and they sit there and they just tear it to pieces. So.
It's the humor, man. Like, it's just, there's so many. God, there's just too many jokes. There's too many jokes.
I need to check some of those out because I enjoy it.
On the Shout YouTube channel. I forget if it's on Shout or if they've moved it to the official MST3K YouTube channel. They have some full-length episodes up. There are also some of them up on Netflix.
Right.
And
it's Shout Factory, right?
Yes, Shout Factory.
Cool.
And some of the best ones, The Final Sacrifice, Werewolf is fantastic. If for nothing else than the credits song they do at the end. It's this fantastic little medley of stuff. Oh, it's hysterical.
Okay, cool. Yeah, man, I just wrote that down. Absolutely. I'll check that one out. Yeah, dude. Yeah, I know a lot of people that are going to be super excited about that. So, hey, man, tell me what happened with wrestling. What happened?
Oh, man. Okay, so they're doing their European tour. WWE's over in Europe. They're doing I don't know if I know it's the UK, and I don't know if they're doing anything mainland. But they're over in the UK, and in Dublin at a house show just a few days ago, their champ, Seth Rollins, was coming down off the top, and he landed bad on his knee. Like, he's supposed to land on his feet, and he was going to powerbomb Kane through a table, and he landed on his feet, but his knee buckled, his right knee. And they found out it wasn't just like he tore his MCL or his ACL or his meniscus tendon, which are the three things that hold your knee together essentially. He tore all of them. So he's going to be out for at least 6 months, probably closer to 9.
Oh wow.
So they've had, and it was so bad. It wasn't. A lot of times they'll try and pull something like, well, he'll come back and they'll do like this quick match where they can drop the title or something.
Right.
But he couldn't even. It's one of those things. You're not walking on that.
Well, for those who don't know, a house show is just something that's not filmed, correct?
Right. Yeah, they do. They do more than just the televised shows. They tour. It picture it like a concert series. Essentially, right. You have, they do their big ones Mondays, and then they tape SmackDown on Tuesdays. They air it on Thursdays. They do the big, I still call them pay-per-views, even though they're on the network, once every month on a Sunday. And then they do all of these traveling shows, all these house shows, in between.
Okay.
And it was at one of these where this happened. And so what they had to do was they had to vacate the title. They had to say, nope, we have no champion. He's on the shelf. So we're going to do a tournament. And, it's just a bracket tournament 2x2 until we get to Survivor Series, and there we'll crown a new champion.
So every Monday night they're going to have
Thursday.
Monday and Thursday they're going to have a match. Whoever wins that match moves on. Yeah,
they had a few this week. Roman Reigns won his match.
Who did he face?
Tyler Breeze lost his match, which pissed me off because I really like Tyler Breeze.
Okay.
And a couple others I can't remember. Kevin Owens won his match, which is cool. KO is a beast. And a couple others, but some of the ones they have, like Kevin Owens beat Titus O'Neil from the Primetime Players. And this and next on SmackDown next they have Kalisto in a match against whoever that's going to beat him, because there's no way Kalisto is believable as World Heavyweight Champ.
I don't think I know who that is.
That's point. He's half of the Lucha Dragons tag team, which is an awesome tag team, but these are not singles competitors.
Yeah, I saw that they were retiring one tag team. Was it the Luchadors? The guy with the bull?
Oh, yeah, more than likely. Yeah, Los Matadores.
I thought they were retiring and then bringing them back. From what I understand, Rollins might come back as a babyface.
Oh, we'll see. We'll see. Like, he's going to be out for a while, so the landscape is going to change a lot while he's gone.
Well, from what I heard, a lot of rumors were that, I guess, wishful thinking from some people, that he'd go away, and then he'd make his surprise return to help someone good, and because he's such he's a good bad guy, but there's no good guys. There's no good guy that you're like The Rock and like Stone Cold. There's no one that you're really cheering for right now. There's absolutely no one.
No, I find myself cheering more for the bad guys. Like the New Day, I bought their new shirt. It's the three of them riding on a unicorn, which is running across a rainbow, and it's the most ridiculous cartoony thing. But I was like, I have to have this shirt. Like, this team is so entertaining. Their biggest thing is they are ridiculously entertaining. And I'm like, I want more of that. But we don't have any face characters, no good guys that carry a show like that.
Daniel Bryan, I think, was probably the last one. Yeah, so that's what I mean. Like, it'd be cool if he came back and he was a face. I guess that's, what you call a face. That would be cool because he's totally recognizable and he's good, so. But that's cool. It's going to be, definitely, to me, sucks he's injured, but it shook things up.
It just means they're probably going to put the title on Reigns a couple months more than they were planning to.
Right. Who knows, man? I would love to see gets it.
I would love to see this go a different way. I really would. I would love to see something. Show me somebody like.
Benefit it has though. I mean, I didn't think he was even going to get it to begin with. I had no idea Seth Rollins was going to get it. So
yeah.
Who knows, man? Everyone thought it was going to be him, but Reigns, but. I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I did see that Kane and the Undertaker made a return.
Yeah, after Bray Wyatt, I love his promos. I love his mic work. It's because there's no governor on it. It is just full throttle. It's very Paul Heyman-ish in a way.
Right.
Of just he is just full speed ahead. He is so committed to his character.
Yeah.
He is just, I have consumed their souls, I've taken their power, and he is just full bore into it. You may think it's the most ridiculous thing out there, but it's the same thing that makes the New Day so entertaining. They have just grabbed this thing and run with it.
Oh yeah.
And if they're gonna hit walls, man, they're gonna run into them. They're gonna leave imprints when they bounce off of them. They're not afraid of failure, and that's what we need from more of these characters. Like so many of them that I want to like. I want to like Cesaro more, but there's no character there. He's a hell of an in-ring technician. His actual matches are incredible, but on the mic, nothing.
Right.
It was kind of the same thing with Damian Sandow, who has disappeared since he stopped being the Miz's sidekick.
Right.
I mean, he has it, but it's got to be. I don't know. I don't know. There's a molding somewhere that's just not that they haven't found yet.
Right.
And I encourage anybody that's got the WWE Network, if you want like a behind the scenes ish kind of thing, they started airing a series called Breaking Ground, which is about NXT and everything that goes on at the Performance Center down in Orlando, off of and at NXT at Full Sail. And it's not something like it's not entirely. There are segments that are clearly like, oh, they scripted little elements of this for sure. But the overarching gist of it is like, no, they just, this is just a day at the office and we stuck some cameras in here.
Oh wow.
It's fascinating. It's absolutely fascinating.
Cool, man. I'll definitely check that out. Yeah, man. I missed it this week. Like I said, I had company over. It was just too busy, but I did see that news and I was like, oh great. It sucks that he's injured, but it definitely feels like it shook things up.
Well, yeah.
So a lot of these characters and seeing them come back. I was wondering when he was going to mix around with Undertaker and Kane because it just seemed so perfect. They've always been that dark side of the WWE.
Yeah. Well, they did. Wyatt and Taker did a program at Mania.
Oh,
this past
right,
year,
that's right.
But like it was just kind of like it was one of those things. It's like, well, we did our last pay-per-view before WrestleMania, so somebody has to pop up and call out the Undertaker, and we'll build that for a month and have the match, and then it'll go away.
Right.
But then this thing with Brock came up, and so they had that feud, and then at the end of that, they brought Bray back in and the whole Wyatt bunch. And now they've roped Kane into it, so that'll be. I like the idea of like these. We're going into Survivor Series in a couple weeks, and it's just going to be. We have our teams of monsters. These are these are characters. They're gimmicks. It's not.
Right.
Oh well, these are people with personalities turned up to 11. It's like no, they dove into these characters, and I'm all for it. We need somebody to carry that on. We don't need them all like that. God, we don't need another Doink the Clown. Jesus, dear God, no.
No.
But a couple characters like this, a Wyatt family is good to have around.
Oh yeah, all that dark stuff. I totally agree. And I know you're probably going to roll your eyes when I say this. Just put Sting in the rafters. He doesn't have to do anything. Doesn't have to say anything. Just show him in the rafters with the baseball bat.
If he can cut it. If he can stand.
But that's what I mean. Just show him. Don't talk. Don't say anything. That's when Sting's at his best.
Yeah,
he's
true.
just standing there.
True.
But all right, man. Well, we'll be right back. We got a lot more to talk about. Again, you're listening to We Geek Podcast on the N.FM. See you in a minute. Welcome back to We Geek Podcast on the N.FM. And yeah, we got a lot more TV news to talk about. Let's see here. BattleBots. ABC renews Robots reboot for second season.
Yeah, they did like a brief kind of reboot miniseries this past summer, and it worked out for them. And they said, yeah, we'll do that again next year. Sure, why not?
See, I didn't see one episode.
It was fun. It was BattleBots. You know exactly what you're getting. Like,
right, yeah, you're getting a bunch of people making robots battling each other.
And ABC was smart. They knew, like, you can't do a full season run of it. No, they did a handful of episodes and done. And it was perfect. It was an event. It was an event series, and that was great, and I loved it.
Yeah, that's awesome. What do you think BattleBot people do when there isn't a TV show? Is there like still like things around the country?
Oh, I have no doubt about it.
Yeah, there has to be. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like there has to be like just something I'm just fully not aware of. Where people go out, they build these things, and they go and battle them on Saturday afternoons at the flea market or something. There's got to be like local touring things where it's like you move on and you won or whatnot. So yeah, that's kind of cool.
Totally.
Yeah, yeah. Let's see here. We got some Supergirl news. Tawny Cypress from Heroes and House of Cards cast as Miranda Crane, anti-alien senator. Now, does this sound familiar at all to you?
Nope.
I don't know anything about the Superman mythos that well. He's got to be probably the most recognizable superhero. I realize I don't know much about
Ask
that
anybody who knows anything about Superman. Anybody that's not a Superman fanatic. Ask them to name 5 Superman villains, and I'll bet you they couldn't do it.
No, they could. I don't even think I could do it honestly.
I mean, we've got like the easy ones: Lex Luthor and Brainiac
Brainiac
and Doomsday.
Would you call Grodd what? No, Grodd's
Flash. Grodd's Flash.
Yeah. Dude, I don't even know Max Lord.
Wow, we're gonna pull Maxwell Lord out, really?
Well, he's in the Supergirl series, right?
Yeah.
I'm just, Wonder Woman broke his neck, I think. I don't know. You're right. There's not much.
Yeah.
Enter any random giant beast that attacks the city.
Pretty much.
Superman comes and saves.
Pretty much.
There's not much to him, and I know there are huge Superman fans out there, and I know they're ripping their hair out saying there's a million, but dude, I can't think of that many. He is iconic, and when I think of Superman villains, I usually think of villains that the Justice League fights.
People like Darkseid or something like that.
Yes.
Probably.
Bingo.
And that's kind of the thing of like that's why people say Superman is boring. It's not because of him, it's because of his villains. It's why people love Batman. You say Batman and off the top of your head you'll get a dozen villains. Easy.
Dude, and we'll talk about Gotham in a little bit. I am falling in love with Gotham. I don't know about you.
Skip anybody who else. Skip season 1, go right to season 2.
Oh yeah, exactly.
You don't need
anything.
season 1. You don't need it.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah, dude, I'm just falling in love with it, seeing all and this is all about the villains, and they were smart to go, hey, let's just focus on the villains this season. Let's get really into it. And so, and not even just the obscure ones. They have some hard hitters in there. The Riddler's really, we'll get into that in a a little bit, but yeah, he's just setting the tone. So, but yeah, man. So it's just Supergirl as well. I've really been digging the show. Only like 3 episodes deep?
3, yeah. I have to catch up.
Yeah, so I hope that she introduces a lot more cooler characters. It's very much like The Flash to me. I mean, this show, it's the same thing as The Flash, which is the same thing as the Arrow in a way. They're very different. Arrow and Flash are different, but they follow that formula that I think Smallville started. Like, here's this event that happened at the beginning of the season that is going to create our characters and go. Or create the villains for the season. Go. Same kind of thing. This I'm seeing a villain of the week type thing. It seems like this is the 3rd week. This is the 3rd villain. And it's kind of got a problem. Actually, I should save all this for when I talk about Supergirl later in the episode. But its biggest problem is Superman. Every episode they talk about Superman, and it's like, okay, can we get to Supergirl? And they even say it in the show. They're like, we really should be our own thing. It's like it's its own problem they're discussing in the middle of the show. Man. So, but yeah. So anyway, Tawny Cypress. Now I'm trying to think. Do you familiar with that actress?
I remember her from Heroes. She was Alice. I think it was Alice. Somebody. She had a French last name.
Oh, okay. I'm looking at her face. I remember her now. Yeah.
Yeah. It's one of those things that's like if you showed her in context, I'd be like, oh yeah, her. But like I don't remember off the top of my head.
Right. Okay. Yeah, she works with the journalist in House of Cards too. Okay. Gotcha. All right, so that's cool. Did you see the new Jessica Jones trailer?
I did. We got our first actual look at the Purple Man.
Yep. Yeah, man, I
I'm
thought it was good.
I'm
How
so
how long is that? How many more days?
9 days from
9.
today. Yeah, it's next Friday.
Oh, awesome!
I
Can't
can't
wait,
wait.
dude. That week I'll be watching that pretty much. Did you see? Now we've talked about this briefly earlier. AMC's getting a new zombie show.
Because it doesn't have enough.
So it's strange. Usually another channel picks up something like this for competition, but this is going to be its third zombie show. It's going to be Empire of the Dead, which is George Romero's Marvel, based on the George Romero Marvel comic book. And from what I understand, it's not just zombies, right?
It's also vampires.
It's also vampires. Do you know any? Have you read any of it? Do you know anything about it that you could talk about?
I have not read any of it.
Okay. Maybe we should do that as one of our comics at some point. Is do the first volume of that. That would be pretty cool. Yeah, it looks like I'm looking at some of the artwork from it. It shows like zombies on like leashes, and dude, this is so bizarre. Yeah, that is so weird. Okay, yeah, we should come back to this at some point and maybe read the first volume because it looks interesting. It looks completely different.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like the regular, like, we got to survive in this world. It looks like people are using these zombies as like almost like slaves or something. It looks like that's crazy. But yeah, or maybe these are okay. They're probably the vampires of the show that are using them as their workforce or something. But yeah, man, we should come back to that at some point and revisit that, especially if AMC is going to be doing a show about it. Dude, how many comic book shows is that now?
Well, what are we up to? The Walking Dead, Preacher, Empire of the Dead. I'm sure I'm missing something.
Well, I mean, comic book type stuff is Comic Book Men.
Sure, why
Fear the
not?
Walking Dead is not really based off a comic, but it's in the same world. So it's like 5 TV shows so far based off comic book stuff. That's they're
What are
kind of
these guys?
straying away.
Yeah, it's like, what are they? The CW? Slow down a little.
Yeah, exactly. The CW is right on them.
Oh man.
But hey man, it's all been good. They haven't really made something in that kind of world that I think has been really bad. So,
True.
but yeah, so that's cool. Speaking of The Walking Dead,
I love this news.
you take it.
I love this news. They have cast the character of Negan, and that's the way I pronounce it. I don't know how anybody else pronounces it. That's the way I make it a long E. Who will appear in the season 6 finale, which I think confirms my theory, but probably not because I just like the spitball. But they have cast him. He will appear. He's the next, he's the guy that makes the governor look like a tame puppy dog, essentially. Yeah. Like, he is insane. But there is a method to it. Like, it's not just crazy for crazy's sake. You could almost agree with him.
Right.
In a sense. And we've heard they were talking about it. It's like, okay, great, this will be a great character, but who do you get to play him? Well, they got Jeffrey Dean Morgan, which I think is the most bang-on thing I've heard in a long time.
Yeah.
I love
absolutely
it.
Perfect.
I think and it's gonna be creepy because he's like he's gonna be having to channel his doppelganger a little. He's gonna have to Javier Bardem this a little bit.
Yeah, pretty much. I always get them confused, but yeah, he absolutely will.
And
yeah.
Now I really can't wait. Like, I've been looking forward to this character just because he is such a dynamic character and such an interesting character and a forceful character. But now that they've cast JDM, I'm like, I really can't wait.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of surprised they spoiled when he's appearing because we're all going to be waiting for it.
Well, but I mean, it was this.
I mean, I think they expect everyone to be waiting for this moment, especially fans. And now that everyone's and we won't get into spoilers, but when something happened a few weeks ago, everyone's kind of, I don't even know. We shouldn't even get into that.
Well, but I mean, here's the thing. It could just be a premiere in, like, they cut to, the thinking that I have is they have to introduce him before we get into any of the craziness. And so, I mean, it's probably going to be, a returning scout, Oh, hey, we saw this town with these people. What do you want to do? Cut to him saying something end of season.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
That's how I think it'll probably go. We'll have the craziness, and then this will just kind of be the coda to set up season 7.
Right. Oh man, I can't wait. This is gonna be so good. It's gonna be great. And then we'll get, sometime later we'll get Fear the Walking Dead. So soon we will have an entire year of zombie shows, especially now that we're gonna have Empire of the Dead. It's going to be non-stop zombies.
Totally.
Yeah. So let's see here. We got more news here. Did you see that? What's his name? Brent Dalton from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. promised another Winter Soldier level twist coming up. Now, is there any Marvel movie coming out where it should tie in to
Civil War?
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
Civil War, shouldn't it?
Will it still be going then?
I would. Well, will Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. still be going then? I'd imagine so.
Like for this season?
Not for this season, no.
Right, it's like probably 24 episodes. They're probably 5 in or so.
It'll be, man.
I mean, they'll probably take a winter break, right?
Right, but I mean, how long is that? A month?
Right, that's a month.
And let's remember the Winter Soldier twist was only with what, like 4 or 5 to go. Like it was.
Right.
It was towards the end of the first season, so I don't. Okay. It would be Civil War if it was gonna be one, I would think.
That's true. And to think about it, it doesn't need a movie to have a huge big twist either. That was just kind of cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, that's awesome. That show's just getting better and better as well. These shows have finally got their footing.
Yeah, that's my next one to catch up on. I took this week to catch up on Gotham. I'll catch up on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. for next week for sure.
Oh. Cool. And let me go ahead and pull this up. Did you see that Fox ordered a live-action / animated show, Son of Zorn?
I don't even know what that is.
Okay, so it is a live-action animated series, stars Jason Sudeikis.
Okay.
And the comedy centers around an animated warrior, Zorn, voiced by Jason Sudeikis, who, upon arriving home to Earth for the first time in 10 years, finds that reconnecting with his live-action son, Alan, which is Johnny Pemberton from 21st Jump Street, and ex-wife, Eddie, which is Cheryl Hines, Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Oh, okay, yeah.
While suffering through a mundane office job and suburban life is harder than raging war against mystical homeland of Zephyria. The series is set to debut during the 2016-17 season. Also stars Tim Meadows. So
okay.
I thought that was just such an interesting thing. But we're short for time, so we'll be back. Again, you're listening to We Geek Podcast on the N.FM. We'll be back in a few minutes. Welcome back to We Geek Podcast on the N.FM, and we got a lot more to talk about. I just talked about the Son of Zorn, so that's going to be weird, interesting. Never heard of it before, but I guess we'll find out. Fox is taking a risk. You said did you see that they're doing a Force Awakens special look on ABC?
Yeah, I figure it's probably gonna be like some more behind the scenes stuff, like the thing they showed. What was it? That D23 or Comic-Con when they did that?
Oh, okay, yeah, no doubt. I definitely want to see that. It's on Thursday on ABC.
It's during all the Shonda Rhimes stuff, like Grey's Anatomy and all those. Yeah.
Oh, got it. Okay, yeah. Will debut at 8:00. So is it going to be like its own thing, or is it going to be during a TV show?
It's going to be during. It'll take the time of like an entire commercial segment, probably.
Oh, I was hoping for like a 30-minute special or something where it's like, here's some behind the scenes on how they're getting the movie made and stuff. It doesn't have to be anything spoilery, but just like, here's behind the scenes. I don't know. I thought that would have been cool. Oh well, I'm not gonna watch Grey's Anatomy for that stuff. We got some.
Yeah.
Sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say like that would be cool, but I think it's just gonna be because I don't see anything here of like, it's a big thing. I think, well, I don't know, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. Did you ever see the first season of Better Call Saul?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Apparently, the second season, they did talk about, continuing, post they were pre Breaking Bad, but they said post Breaking Bad is not out of the option, and that's something they're actually looking at. That the show could go past Breaking Bad.
Well, sure. I mean, he's a fascinating enough character. I mean, we've established he can carry his own show.
Yeah, that was the big question. And
yeah.
I mean, technically, the show started out post Breaking Bad anyway, so
right.
It could tie all right in, and that would be a cool way that damn, now we can get a lot of the characters that people really like on it. But you're right. You're absolutely right. He holds his own ground. So I thought that was pretty cool news. Here's some other small stories. Sony finally officially ended the production of Betamax tapes.
I saw this and kind of thought, what century am I living in? I didn't know they still made them at all.
Right, yeah. I mean, most laptops these days, you can't even get a DVD drive. Sony just canceled Betamax tapes. I have no idea what they would have been used for nowadays. But
no, I mean, not even I understand audio reels. Some studios still record on tape. But,
gotcha.
But but it's not Betamax tape. I mean, that's not nobody shoots on Betamax. What the hell? I don't.
Yeah, it makes no sense. It makes absolutely no sense. I thought it was funny. American Horror Story was renewed for season 6. So all you, what?
I said there's a shock.
Yeah, exactly. I think I watched 3 seasons, but I haven't seen the last few. This other bit of TV news before we get into some video games. Netflix's F is for Family had a trailer. Basically, it's an animated TV show. It very much looks like Family Guy, like Simpsons Family Guy. Basically, it's created by comedian Bill Burr and the Simpsons writer Michael Price. Burr voices Murray Frank. Laura Dern plays his wife Sue, and Justin Long voices the family's oldest son Kevin. So it straight up looks like Family Guy in the 70s. There wasn't much to the trailer or anything like that. It just, the animation, I guess, is what I'm saying, looks like it. So that's cool. And Netflix has got some good animated shows. There's that one with the horse.
Oh, BoJack Horseman.
BoJack Horseman. I've seen a few episodes of that, and it was pretty funny.
Nice.
But yeah, man, we're running short on time, so let's get into some video game news, some comics, and reviews. So, you take the first video game news here.
I like this, because PlayStation Vue, which is still kind of in limited markets, it's their cable provider service thing that you get through your PlayStation. They don't have a tremendous amount going for it so far, but they just added all the Disney-owned networks: Disney Channel, Disney XD, ESPN, and a lot of the other ESPN channels, ABC Family, all of the Disney stuff. That's everything Disney owned, and ESPN was the big one. Yep. That's the one that's going to hook a lot of people onto the service for sure.
Yep, absolutely. So if you already got if they have Fox, NBC, CBS, and now you got ESPN, that's amazing.
Yeah,
that's perfect. That all you sports fans out there. Bingo, there you go. That's all you need. That's one of the main reasons people still have cable to this day is sport. They want to watch live sporting events.
Totally.
Me and you are more we want to watch our weekly soap operas, pretty much is what they are. Our comic book soap operas. We like our stories. A lot of people like their sports, and hey, I mean, I'm a huge sports fan too. I love the Packers. I'm not a big sports fan as a lot of other people. I have my team and I follow them.
Yeah,
that's it. But yeah, dude, ESPN, total get. So kudos to PlayStation. Yeah.
Makes being a Panthers fan on this podcast a little odd this week, but
no, man, hats off to you guys. You guys are nailing it out of the park. Dude, our team fell apart. The O-line, there's only so much Rodgers can do. You know what I mean?
True. True.
I saw this video where it was my buddy Rocco posted. It was he gets the Mario star and he's running around. And it's there's no protection. We have the best quarterback, in my opinion, in the world. And he continuously gets sacked. He was sacked. I don't even know how many times, but
I think 4, and then not even counting how many times he got hit as he threw.
Exactly. Thank God I had something to do that day. Like I said, a company opened, and we went
Oh
out,
man.
but I was I was watching as much as I could, and it was just a disaster. But yeah, so anyway, what is this UFC 2?
Yeah, because EA now has that license. They did UFC a couple of years back. They announced they're doing a sequel, and they announced it by posting a teaser for details that came out today, which was actually itself a vague description of details that they will announce on Friday. So,
Okay.
typical EA business as usual. But the first UFC that they did was like, I want a sequel because here's some great concepts, here's some good ideas, the mechanics work, they need work. So now we're gonna get two, and it'll be better, and I'm looking forward to it. I actually enjoyed it.
Oh, nice. Okay, cool. There's a bit of news that I don't have here in our notes, but Nintendo Direct. There's gonna be a new one on Thursday.
Oh, no way, really? Cool.
Yep. So, next week we'll talk all about that. I'm sure. Yeah, I don't even know what they're gonna talk about. I've seen a lot of news about that. There's just one game almost like Pokemon that's coming over soon. Something Watch. I can't.
Oh, Yokai Watch just came out, I think, didn't it?
It did. Okay. I'm sorry. So I've been seeing a bunch of news about that. So I thought maybe it'd have something to do with that, but I didn't think it was out yet. I guess it is. That's cool. I might check that out because a lot of people are saying it's a lot like Pokemon. We all know how much I like Pokemon. So, but yeah, dude. So yeah, new Pokemon or new Nintendo Direct Thursday. So we'll be talking about that next week.
Nice.
We got Legacy of Kain.
Michael Brinkner, who's a senior designer over at Crystal Dynamics, he said there's about a 50-50 shot that they're going to do another Legacy of Kain. So I'm praying that coin lands on heads because I love that series.
Yeah, I know a lot of people that did.
Soul Reaver was better than Blood Omen, and I will fight anybody who says differently, but it's a great series, and it's time for it to come back. It's been gone for a while.
Wasn't there a game that they were making and then they scrapped and then like somebody got a hold of it, like the actual build of the game? Like it was almost finished?
It's entirely possible.
Right, I forgot what website. There's a website out there where it's like they show footage of games that just weren't released. And there was a Legacy of Kain that was almost released, never made it. And there was like a complete build of it or something.
Yeah,
like
there
that.
was talk of a reboot like 4 or 5 years ago, I think, by now.
Right. Okay, we got a lot more game news to get through. So the Sony announced Darth Vader controller price and release date unannounced. So basically, that controller that we saw for the Battlefront console, I believe it was, it's going to be sold separately.
Yeah, they're going to have that. Well, because I know a lot of people are upset because they originally said it's only going to be with this console, and then somebody decided, hey, wait a minute, we're a business and we like money. Right. And if we sell it separately as well, people will buy it.
Yeah, I wasn't really a fan of it. I think it looks ugly. I really like the Call of Duty controller.
That's the black and the orange. Like it's a neat color scheme.
Yeah,
and it's not overdone. It's really well done.
Exactly. I think if I got a new controller, it would probably be the classic PlayStation 1 colors.
The 20th anniversary one.
Yep. I wish they did like a C-3PO one though, but yeah. We got Borderlands Online. Take-Two cancels game. Closes 2K China studio. That's odd.
That's a bummer. Well, like it wasn't gonna work out. Like they did a whole thing where it was just the project wasn't gonna work.
Yeah.
There was something about the time frame and everything, and they're talking about like that laid off like 150 people.
Jeez.
2K China was not a small studio. So they did say they are trying to, they're not just like, oh, sorry, here's your big slips. Like they are trying to help these people find other work. But, you hate to see this happen, especially with 2K studios, because they've been closing everywhere over the last couple of years.
That does suck. That definitely does suck. Let's see here. We got Life is Strange. How do you pronounce that? Entertainment?
Don't nod, because it's a palindrome.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's like Taco Cat. It's the same thing. But yeah, the co-founder, Elaine Damasio, said that they are. What he said was he enjoyed something like he enjoyed working on Life is Strange, and Life is Strange 2 in the future. So everybody went, oh, okay, they're making a sequel. Great, thanks.
Yeah, and they have to. I've only played the first episode of that, and I absolutely loved it. I can't recommend it enough. I just on that alone, honestly, I want to get the rest of it. It's just a really cool the way they do it. It takes the Telltale games, but it makes it a little bit more interesting, I think. And so it was really cool.
Nice.
Absolutely. We had BlizzCon over the weekend, or last week, I should say. We already talked to death about the Warcraft trailer, but there was some other cool news announced at BlizzCon. They had the Overwatch was confirmed for Xbox One and PlayStation 4 for $60, for the PC $40. Now I don't know why can't it be $40 for all of them? But and there's no cross play. You cannot play PlayStation 4 and Xbox One players together, which makes sense. I mean, I thought that was kind of a obvious thing, but yeah, Overwatch, which is kind of like a first-person shooter Dota in a way.
Okay.
From what I saw, that's what it reminded me of, at least. But yeah, and also there's a comic book series coming out for it as well. They released some other brief information I'll get to before we get to the break, like the next WoW expansions in August. They waited until the end to release the cinematic trailer, which if you haven't seen, you need. Even if you don't understand what's going on in the trailer, it is gorgeous. I wish they would do a WoW animated type thing, put it on Netflix or something, because they could. They're built their own studio that does that. Absolutely amazing.
Nice.
The trading card game, the Hearthstone.
Okay.
Right, is getting a new expansion with 45 cards called the League of Explorers. Investor meeting just prior to the show, Activision revealed that Hearthstone is now up to 40 million players.
Ooh.
Which is huge, yeah. And they're introducing a hero brawler into the new Heroes of the Storm, which is his name's Cho'Gall. It's a two-headed monstrosity that is played by two different characters. I don't know how that works. But we're going to take a break. Once we get back, we'll do a little bit of more video games. Actually, really pretty much get into comics and reviews. So, again, you're listening to We Geek Podcast on the N.FM. See you in a minute. Welcome back to We Geek Podcast on the N.FM, and what we're going to do, since we are running short on time, we know the book of the week was Morning Glories. It still is. We're going to be talking about it next week, so we're going to dive deep into it because it is a meaty book. We're going to talk about Volume 1. I'm probably going to read Volume 1 and Volume 2 just to get more of an idea what's going on, but we'll get into that next week. So if you read it, fantastic. Hold on to it. We're going to talk about it next week. Write into us at We Geek Podcast on the N.FM and let us know what you think about it. We'll read it next week. But we're also going to pick another book too. So we're going to have a big, chunky comic book section next week. Logan, what book do you want to read for next week?
Northlanders, Volume 1. It was a 2008 book. It was Brian Wood, if I remember right, who also did DMZ, and it's old Vikings.
Oh, nice.
It's a story back in ye olde Norse days, and it's a volume. And it's interesting because each volume is a different story. You know, they're not necessarily connected or contiguous. It's Volume 1 is an exiled Viking who returns home, and Volume 2 is some other part. I can't remember. Like, I loved Volume 1.
Okay.
And I didn't read a whole lot past that. But
okay.
Good book. Good book.
Awesome. Yeah, Brian Wood's great. Okay, cool. I got that down on my list. So awesome. So we'll talk about Morning Glories and Northlanders Volume 1 next week. We'll take a lot of time to talk about them. Let's get into we'll talk a little bit for a second about something you got. We'll get into reviews for basically comic books and TV. So tell me, man, what did you purchase?
I did something crazy this week. I bought an Xbox.
What made you go and buy it?
I went to GameStop because they have a layaway program, and I was like, okay, I can do, like $60 on an elite Xbox, a 1 terabyte, the holiday bundle that comes with Gears of War Ultimate Edition and Rare Replay and Ori, and I was like, okay, I can do this, and we'll start paying this off. And the guys up there are fantastic salesmen because they were running a sale that ended the day that I got there. And I asked to see the paperwork, so I was like, are you trying to used car salesman me? Like, no, take a look, so on, so on. It was exactly the bundle that I wanted, plus another brand new game of my choice for free, and a second controller.
Wow.
And so I got Halo, the Master Chief Collection.
Nice.
And I got the Spartan Locke themed controller. And
nice.
So yeah, like I was like, okay, great, Merry Christmas to me. That's it. I'm done. I can't buy anything else until after the new year,
Right.
which is fine. I've got plenty here to keep me occupied. I still have Phantom Pain sitting here screaming, "When are you ever gonna play me, you idiot?"
Right.
So, but
Dude,
yeah,
that's awesome.
Good times.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I know. I was talking about it like last week. Like, I've been thinking about it. You went and got it. So,
well, it wasn't. I was like, I can, and I had to come home, like, because they were telling me about it, and I was like, let me go home and crack the piggy bank and see what I can do. And I was like, okay,
right.
I should I? Probably not. But, like, I can, so it's done, and it was a good deal. It was, I mean, you break down everything, and it was like $700 worth of stuff. For 4 and change. So
right.
I'm in. Yeah.
Perfect. You're not going to get better for that, even on Black Friday. So that's fantastic. Yeah, man, dude, that's awesome. I got a few things I have to get before I get an Xbox, but that's definitely on the list of my play money things I want to get. That's the next thing. Yeah. So it's oh man, I can't wait. And I can't wait to talk about Halo and stuff with you because I've never played it. So
yeah, get the Master Chief Collection. You will enjoy it. I was glad that I did because I never played 2 and I never actually finished 3.
Yeah, and I mean, maybe hopefully if I get enough time, we can actually sit and do co-op because I think you can do online co-op with those. Yeah. So that would be absolutely fun because I would love to play that game with someone. So totally. Yeah, man, I'll get into that. I also saw, now that you have an Xbox, at some point get Tomb Raider because it just got amazing scores everywhere.
I've seen that, and that's good. That's very good.
Absolutely.
I'm very glad.
Sucks PlayStation fans won't get it till next year, but I heard nothing but great things. I actually got Fallout 4 last night, so I'll be talking about that next week. Haven't gotten into it. When I get 30 minutes of time, which is rare because of all the stuff we have to do, not have to do, that we enjoy doing.
There you go.
I don't want to sit down with Fallout 4 for 30 minutes. I'll probably create a character hardly in that amount of time.
Yeah, that's it. Like, that was when I got WWE 2K16. Like, it took me an hour because I have to create the character, I have to name him, I have to do the attributes, then you have to create the move set. Like, it's a whole process.
Oh yeah, I started getting into like what you have to put points to and stuff, and I was like, oh no. I started looking at it like, I'm not touching this game until I have a day off. So I'm off, like I get 3-day weekends now. So Thursday I'm gonna be just wake up, have fun, do my thing. I'm gonna probably try and work out in the morning, and that's all I'm gonna do for the rest of the day is probably do Fallout. But yeah, man. So I can't wait. And it's Thursday. Everyone else I know is working, so I don't have any obligations to do anything with anybody. Perfect. But yeah, so let's get into some reviews. You said you didn't probably read any much comics this week, right? Except for Morning Glories.
Right.
All right, so I'll kind of briefly go over Amazing Spider-Man 3. Go freaking read it. I'll give you a little hint. There's some Fantastic Four stuff in there. Nice. And there's some hinting at, like, I like the way Dan Slott is trying to say they're not dead. They'll be back. And the only person that can kind of hold on to their legacy is their closest friend, pretty much. So I thought that was cool. Extraordinary X-Men, freaking amazing. I love it. I love it's basically one of those we got to get the team back together kind of books where like this is going to be the X-Men title going forward. Uncanny X-Men 600 was really cool. They kind of touched a lot about Iceman and his sexuality, and you get the meetup of finally the older Iceman, or I guess it'd be older and the younger,
Right.
however it works, they sit down and they have their talk about how they feel, you know. And I won't spoil any of that. It's definitely an interesting read. And at the end of the comic, they actually show you parts, I guess, in Iceman comics where they've hinted at that. So that was cool. And it's also basically like the trial of Beast, or the very beginnings of it. And they've actually hinted at that a lot in X-Men comics, about how Beast, you kind of see how he has gone towards this road of the Dark Beast. And so they touch on all that.
Nice.
Doctor Strange, issue 2, amazing. Just go read it. The art is beautiful. The story is fun. I've never read a Doctor Strange story, and from what I understand, this is one of the best ones out there. So go read it.
Nice.
We got a few minutes, so let's get into it. What did you think of the shows this week?
I loved it. I loved Arrow because it brought back Constantine, and I miss him. Like, Matt Ryan's portrayal is perfect. He's
rating spiked.
Yeah.
So he's coming back, or CW, they have to be fighting for the rights to do the show, or he has to become a major player in one of these 3 shows that they're doing.
He'll bop around, I think. I would like to see him recurring here and there. If they can't get him his own show, then make him, he pops up, throughout the season on different shows. That would be great. I would love that.
Absolutely, yes. Get him a recurring character, even if he's just placed on a show like that one where they have the whole Justice League type thing, the Legends. That would be a perfect spot for him, I really think, because he interacts with people that are not like him very well. I love how they blend his weirdness with whatever that show is.
Yeah.
Like they did with Arrow. He could be amazing in Flash too. So, yeah. So
could you imagine him and Joe and Cisco trying to have a discussion?
Yeah, like, exactly. It'd be awesome. What did you think of Gotham that you caught up?
Come on. I love this show. Like, I was torn last season, but this season just gets better and better and better.
Oh yeah, my favorite is now the Riddler and how he's really becoming the Riddler.
And was it Corey? I forgot his name.
The actor?
He is just killing it. He's fantastic. Corey Michael Smith, that's his name.
Okay.
He is killing it.
He really was. It's getting
literally.
It's getting so good, and I like where they kind of cut it off. I think they're going to take a hiatus now.
Are they off for a little while maybe?
I don't know. I think there's maybe one more episode left. I'm not sure. We'll talk about it next week with what they have. Did you get caught up on Doctor Who?
I did.
Okay. I Saturday night I had company over, so I wasn't able to see it. Actually, I take that back. We watched a little bit because one of the girls that were over, she was a huge Doctor Who fan, so that's awesome. I got a new friend that's totally in love with it, and she was explaining a lot to me and the other girl that I had over, and so a lot of the stuff I got, but I didn't get at the same time. So that was cool.
It was one of Capaldi's best scenes. His little
cool
monologue in that was fantastic.
Yeah, I got to go back and rewatch it because we were all just talking during it pretty much, and so
yeah,
it was one of the things. What about Ash and the Evil Dead? How'd you like it?
I love this show. I watched both. I watched both episodes yesterday, and it's perfect. It's exactly what Evil Dead fans wanted. It's exactly what we wanted. It's awesome. I love it.
Yep. I've only seen the first one, but I did enjoy it. What about The Flash?
Oh man, come on! Like this, it's the same thing. It keeps getting better. Like they threw in a really, really weird twist at the end. So I want to see how that plays out.
Yeah, well, what twist? Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, but the whole time I thought I knew who Zoom was. Now I have no freaking clue.
I love that they're like because in the comics they're the same person. They're the same. Professor Zoom and the Reverse Flash are one and the same, more or less.
Right, the whole time I'm thinking it's, what's his face? The guy from the first... Why is my mind going blank?
It's Wells. Nope, not him.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm thinking, my theory, and this is just a whacked out theory, I think it's this is Barry Allen. Not Barry Allen, I think it's... Yeah, Barry Allen from a different universe.
From Earth 2. That's kind of where I'm leaning on that, but I would think he would have recognized himself.
Yeah, exactly. So, dude, what else are we missing here? Walking Dead, what'd you think of it?
Walking Dead was really interesting this week to see, especially everything with Maggie. Like that was an interesting way to watch that play out.
Yeah, there's a lot of love in the air.
Yeah, man, is there ever.
There really was a lot of love in the air, and I thought it was really
it's
cool.
Hope. That whole episode was kind of about hope, and we know what happens to Hope in this TV show.
Yep. Oh yeah. And I like that they didn't answer the question about Glenn just yet. So
yeah.
They've teased it, and I think they're teasing it enough to. I think there might be some traction to your theory. So
I'm telling you, man.
But yeah, so we gotta do some cleaning up here. Again, of course, you're listening to us on the We Geek podcast on the N.FM. Go to our Facebook group, We Geek Podcast. Got 2 of them. One you can like, one you can add and talk and discuss things. Send us an email at wegeekpodcast@gmail.com. Our Twitter is at WeGeekPodcast. My personal one is at Adam Estep, ADAMESTEP, and Logan.
At the Logan Witt, WITT.
There you go. And of course, always listen to us on 9 p.m. on Wednesdays on the N.FM. And am I missing anything?
No, I think that'll do it.
All right, we'll see you guys next week. Captain?
Captain.